In this video, I'll present 3 important skills that will benefit you as a landscape photographer, and be sure to stay around to the end as I have a little new thing I want to show you. So it's morning, and yeah, these September mornings are just getting colder and colder, but luckily I have to get out of bed later and later. And all the scouting I've done the past year is now panning off. Is that the expression? I don't know. It is just so magical right here. Just look at this. Look at this forest. So beautiful oak trees over here. And they're just like going over the trail leading in here. And out here we have the largest stream in Denmark. The God Stream. And yeah, it is just I don't know, it's so atmospheric, it's so fairy tale-ish. Yeah, settings wise, f16, ISO 100, aperture priority, 2.5 seconds exposure right now. What more can I tell? Yeah, the fog along the stream here when I came, I was like, I don't know really. But I have learned from experience that fog comes and goes, it pulsates a little bit. And I've been standing at this location for 15 minutes or so, waiting for the fog to come into the trail, because it had a tendency to just stay like out there above the river / stream it must be. But then it started to come in here and over here, so basically along the shore. And now I'm just taking a few photos right here. I'm getting the horizontal versions, and now I want to get the vertical versions. Yes, yes, yes. So I've been photographing the trail here behind me too, and this was over here where I was standing before. I want to talk a little bit about today's theme, which is like, there's like 3 things I would say that is super important for a landscape photographer to understand, obviously besides the camera. And the first thing is, of course, composition. In general, I talk about composition all the time on this channel, but the point is to have some kind of structure to your photo. So right now I'm shooting out over the God Stream, and the sun is rising right here. And I'm trying to compose a photo which looks somewhat like this. It's a little hard to see, I can see. So as you can see, I have the sunrise right here in the middle, just moving a little bit to the side. There we go. All right, so I just moved it a little bit to the side. But the point is that structure to your photo is just so important, composition in your photo. So it is aesthetically pleasing to look at. So right now, I of course have the sun rising right here between these 2 trees. I have some small crooked trees in front, and then I get a little bit of the reflection down here in the water, you can see down here. And I'm including the reeds simply just to have, yeah, just a little bit, you know, of extra atmosphere to the photo. So the first thing is structure, structure, structure. A little structure is better than no structure. So the main point about creating structure in your photos is that you do not want to confuse the viewer. You want to make sure that the viewer knows what it is they're supposed to look at in the photo. That doesn't mean you can't make a complex photo. It's a little bit harder when you make a complex photo. But generally, as a rule of thumb in landscape photography, is to keep it fairly simple. And yeah, that's the point with this photo here. Like, I have my subject, which is the sun. Usually I don't really photograph sunrises where the sun is the subject, but in this particular case it works really, really well. And then I have all the surrounding landscape to create all this atmosphere. I have the fog, I have a little bit of reflection from the sun in the stream, and then I have the oak trees and a few dead oak trees in front. So it just looks so beautiful. So that's the structure of this photo. So remember to always have some structure, some sense to a photo. And of course, if you want to know even more about composition in landscape photography, you can get my 2 ebooks. I've made them very easy to read, minimal text, but a lot of photos to complement the points I'm trying to make. And in the last chapter, I'm like catching up on all the different subjects that I've gone through in the ebooks. So there is a light version to both my first and my second ebook. You can check those out first if you want to, or you can just get the ebooks. They've got a lot of 5-star reviews. People seem to be very happy about them, and apparently they also work really well in the field. So people use them as guides when they're in the field to inspiration and stuff. So that's a very nice bonus that I did not count on when I made the ebooks. Anyway, here is the photo. So the next absolutely essential part of being a landscape photographer that I would say is benefiting me a lot and make sure that I have the success that I have and the satisfaction from my photos that I do have is previsualization. I've only mentioned a few times on my channel, but previsualization is basically that you can pre-visualize how your final photo is going to look. And here I'm not specifically talking about like down to the very last detail. What I'm talking about is that you explore an area like this one. I explored this back in March, I think it was, and there was no leaves on the trees. And I knew from experience that I really enjoy photographing forests in late summer, as I have talked about on this channel before. Be sure to check out that video. But I had to imagine how would it look, and because of my experience with going out and photographing oak forests, I had a pretty decent idea about how it was going to look. So I of course found a few different compositions, among others the first one. And I've also found some compositions this morning that I did not pre-visualize. But the reason why I came here was because I had explored it, pre-visualized it, and then I knew I wanted to photograph this scene with fog, which happens during morning, and in August, September-ish, when I have the darker greens leaves on the trees. So in that way, I've come to a location that I pre-visualized. I have a few different compositions that I knew I was going for. And then I of course can also just photograph whatever comes to mind as the photo I just got before. But right now I was just photographing down this tunnel here again with the trail leading in. And then I'm including some of these branches up here. So the fog came back in just before. You see, it's literally just out here. You can hardly even see the stream. There it is. And then it comes in here. So yeah, another beautiful shot. So I only really have one regret about this specific location. I'm not even sure you can call it regret, but the annoying part is that for all sunrises and sunsets, it's basically side light, almost no matter what time of year it is. At least at this time of year where I want to photograph it, it's side light. And that means that I can't get those beautiful sun streaks through the trees. I have to shoot, you can see the trail is here and here, and then the sun will rise like over here, and it rises over here today ish. And yeah, I do get beautiful sun streaks over there, but it would be so nice to have them at some of those first locations I was photographing. So the last thing that is so beneficial to you as landscape photographer is to have a sense of light and meteorology. So meteorology in regard to, as you can see, go out on the mornings where there's actually a decent chance of getting a beautiful atmosphere. Obviously you can use different kinds of apps for that, but sometimes those apps can be a little bit deceitful, and you wouldn't know exactly that you actually have a chance of getting fog, even though the forecast does not say fog. And when you are around lakes and streams and you are in lowlands, valleys and so forth, there is a bigger chance of getting fog after a relatively cold night when there's almost no wind. And that's exactly how it is this morning. So knowing about meteorology, I knew that this place there would be a decent chance of fog, even though the forecast said, it could be, but maybe not. And it just became worse during the night. So in the end, I decided to go anyway, and I did get fog down by the ground, and then I have a blue sky above me, which is really good for when the sun breaks through. So I knew there was a chance of the sun breaking through. I just knew also that I couldn't really, I'm standing on something, I couldn't really benefit properly from the sun breaking through. Like I'm shooting over now on the other side of the stream, and I think it's a beautiful shot. It looks really powerful with the sun just like bursting through the trees on the other side, and I think it's an okay shot. But I didn't expect to benefit from the sun at all. I came here for the morning fog and to get those photos that I had pre-visualized. And right now I'm just playing around, and that is what you can do when you know that you have fog. But I will probably have fog for the next half hour or so. So I can just play around, find different compositions as the fog evaporizes, or goes away. And yeah, that's fantastic. So structure to your photo, pre-visualization, and know about meteorology and how it benefits from the light ish. Yeah, Hope that makes sense. So those last photos really turned out much better than I had expected. That was such a beautiful morning. But onto the little thing I wanted to show you. I always want to try something new and see how it's received. And I was approached by a company called Brand Turbo. So Brand Turbo has made this extension to internet browsers. Right now it is only available for Google Chrome and for Microsoft Edge. It should be available in September, or at least with the release of this video, hopefully for both Firefox and also for Safari. Not sure yet, but I will let you know once it is. And it's also available for Android, and it will be available later for iOS phones. But if we jump into it, it is simply just an extension where you can use my photos as backgrounds in your internet browser. Very, very easy. And you can see down here in the left corner, we can change to different photos. And there is a link to the gallery on my homepage where you can see that photo. Then there are, of course, links to my homepage, my YouTube, my Instagram, my Facebook, sometimes for my composition week, but it's only when we run that event. Then to my Photoshop course, my Twitter also, and you can add your own as you so desire. If you don't want to look at mine, you can simply just go in and make a new folder with your different tabs, or go to your frequently visited. Then there is over here, that's the interesting part. If you go to the news feed, then you can see all my new posts on Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. So you are not going to miss anything that I post, if you so desire. All the way down here, there's different tabs that you can use with your Chrome browser. But if you go down here to experiences, then you can choose different themes. Right now, it is the landscapes theme that I've created, which is just a bunch of different of my random landscape photos. My favorite landscape photos that I think is good in horizontal for backgrounds and wallpapers. But if you only want to watch photos from Iceland, you can choose that one, from Denmark, from Faroe Islands, or from Norway, if you so desire. You can simply just choose it and apply. And then that is the theme that is running each time you open a new tab, as you can see here. And as you open the new tab, also the background should rotate and change, so you don't see the same one all the time. There is, of course, some monetary stuff in this. This is the reason why a company makes an extension, and it's actually only a very little thing. If you go into the shopping tab right here, you can see it's going to Amazon. So if you go in and search for whatever you want to buy on Amazon through this link, then it's going to be an affiliate link with no extra cost to you. But then Amazon gives a small kickback to me and Brand Turbo. We shared 50-50 for going through this extension, and that's basically it. So obviously for Brand Turbo it's important. They have the for them, they just want to have as many users as possible, and that is what's beneficial for them, and obviously it's beneficial for me because I also get a little part of this. But besides that, like, I don't think it will be a whole lot. It will be pennies from my side. But if you do want to have some wallpapers, which are my photos, and you want a newsfeed directly to your main desktop, sometimes cars do drive by here, then you can simply just use this extension. So yeah, that's basically it. It's very important that you use the link to this extension in the description of the video and in the first comment in the comment section, because else you will just go in and get some other random fan club's extension, like a football fan club like Newcastle, or some racing company's extension for this. So you have to use my link to get the extension with my photos. So yeah, check it out down in the description. Also check out my landscape photography ebooks, my Photoshop for landscape photographers course, and there is also a coupon code if you want to get 15% off on Topaz Labs Denoise AI. And yeah, as always, I would highly appreciate both a like and a comment. And that's it. If you're wondering where I am, I'm right now at Sophie's parents, because we're still like in between moving from our old apartment to our house. So yeah, that's in Zealand. Some of you got confused that you thought it was New Zealand. It's not. Zealand, the biggest island in Denmark. Thank you so much for watching. As always, check out the links, get this extension if you want to, and yeah, see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.